watching the replay. Hello, hello, hello to everyone over in YouTube and as well as Twitter if you guys are catching that. I had some things to do this morning. I got a phone call on Monday and they were like, we need a guest speaker to come and view this television show that's going to be going live. Um, you were on our list. The host personally thought of you, and then we were trying to get other people to come on the show, and then you were also recommended by someone else. So shout out to Maggie Rodriguez. Thank you for that. Basically, they said it must have been God sent because everybody was calling your name out to be on this show. So I said, okay, this is not my first time on the show. So all of like the jitters of like going live and traveling and what to do and how to prepare, all of that was completely just not even there because this was not my first time. So I say all that to say before I get into the conversation that whatever it is that you're doing, keep doing it. If you feel like you failed miserably, there will be another chance where you can learn from those mistakes, have your experience, and show them what you really got, in a later season in time. So, anyways, I had to delay the show. If you guys like having the Friday Love Live show on Friday afternoon versus the 10 a.m. slot that I usually do it on, let me know. Put it in the comments. Let me know, or like this live video. Show me what you got. So, out of a show of hands, because not everybody has Netflix, but out of a show of hands, how many of you guys have watched the show The Ultimatum by from Netflix? It's on Netflix. It just came out. It was trending number one last week. It is, I believe, like number three today. Who has seen the show The Ultimatum from Netflix? If you haven't, whether you have or whether you haven't, I'm going to go ahead and give you a brief synopsis of what the show entails. But I also want to just kind of break this show down, not really character for character, because again, like I said, not everybody has seen this show, but I want you guys to understand the idea and the concept. I want you to wrap your head around the concept of it because I feel like a lot of people do this in their current relationship, in their current marriage. And so, even though this is one of those guilty pleasure shows, I feel like there's so much that you can learn from and we can receive. And I want you guys to listen to this show, talk back with me, have a conversation, but also walk away with some gems and some nuggets that you guys can ultimately take with you for your love life based off of what we're getting and what we're pulling, out of Christian dating and faith-based principles from this show. So let me just go ahead and grab some coffee. It's been a long day for me, guys. I'm sure it's been a long day for you too. So go ahead, enjoy your drink. All right. So, what is The Ultimatum? The Ultimatum is a reality TV show. It is on Netflix. It is brand new, and it is a spin-off of the show Love is Blind. So, if you are familiar to the show Love is Blind on Netflix, they have two seasons currently out. The Ultimatum is their newest spin-off show, and they did it because the host Nick Lachey and his wife, basically in their personal relationship, they had an ultimatum. She basically said, we've been together for 5 years. You want kids, we want a future together, but where are we? What are we doing? We're either going to move forward with a marriage or we're going to break up. So that was their ultimatum. This idea and concept spinned off into this television show. This television show had six couples originally. These couples were dating for over a year. Usually the average was about 2 years that these couples were dating. They were very young. I don't think I've seen any of the couples who were in their mid or higher 30s. So they were very mid 20 to late 20. And these couples, either the girlfriend or the boyfriend, gave their partner an ultimatum. You're either going to marry me or we're going to break up. So they went on this show, okay? And what the show did was they had them basically become single, okay? So for the next week, you're single. You're not with the person you came with. Now you're going to meet other people, and now you're going to choose another person to live with. I know, so toxic, so crazy. You're going to choose another person to live with for the next 3 weeks, okay? And as you're living with this other person for 3 weeks, you're supposed to determine in yourself, in your heart, in your conscience, in your mind, body, spirit, whether or not you can see yourself marrying the person you came with, or whether you should be better off with other people or maybe by yourself, right? So after the 3 weeks, they go back together to their original person. So much baggage, right? They go back to their original person and they live with that person for 3 weeks. Not even considering the thought that maybe some people don't want to live together before they get married, but whatever. I digress. That's not the main points we're going to bring out today. They live with these people for 3 weeks. And then after that, they have the ultimatum. Okay. So now they have to answer, they have to face that ultimatum. So now it's like, do they propose? Do they break up? Or do they walk away with someone else? Now, in the show, I'm not going to give it away because maybe you want to binge this. Maybe this is like, ooh, this is your guilty pleasure. I'm not going to give it away, but there was a little bit of all of it. And in some cases, two of the cases, they basically said, yes, I'm going to marry you before they even got into the living with other people part. Like they were like, this is not for me. This show is not for me. I know what I want. Just talking to other people in this 1 week has made me realize that I want to be with the person I came with. So they weren't even playing with it, right? But then you have all of these emotions because it's like, I love this person, but they don't see my worth. But now they're laughing and giggling with a whole nother person. And it's like you're jealous and you're envious and you're angry. And they just, of course, it's a Netflix show. So of course they're pulling out all the stops. They're pulling out all the drama for the ratings, right? And we love it. We just eat it all up. But this is what the ultimatum has taught me. First of all, it reminded me that there are a lot of couples out there. Now, maybe they're not doing everything that Netflix did, but there are a lot of couples out there who are settling in relationships that are either not growing them, that are not fulfilling them, and that are not satisfying them. And so they're in these relationships struggling to get to the next level, whether that's marriage or beyond, right? And so they get upset because it's like they want to progress forward, but their partner is either not allowing it because they're not ready, or honestly, they might be self-sabotaging it because they're not ready. You know what I'm saying? Either way, there are couples in real life who are feeling as though they're stuck in these relationships because they want to give an ultimatum to their partner. They want this partner to say, listen, I woke up one day and I realized that you are the one for me and I got to get my life together. And I want to do that by giving you a ring, by committing my intention to marry you. Okay. They want that to happen because they want their relationship to move forward. So much is going to go on just in that statement alone. And I'm going to touch on that. The other thing that I realized is that in these talks, as these people are starting to, realize like, oh, I want to be with the person I came with. And I did have some issues. What happened is that when they took that break from each other and when they started to meet new people, a few things happened. Number one, they realized that there were people out there who liked them for them. And when you get comfortable in a relationship that doesn't really serve you, you start to think in your head, like, I just want that person to change. Or I just feel like if this person would change, then our relationship would change. And I'm tired of doing all of this and they're not doing that. So if they would just do that, we can become aligned and we can move forward. That's not necessarily how it goes. You're basically telling a person with baggage, with trauma, with past pains and experiences, somebody that you have okayed their character and their behavior this whole time. Now you're telling them they need to change in order for you guys to move forward. Like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Right. And so that's what they're doing with this ultimatum. Right. And so when they were meeting all of these new people, they're starting to realize, like, I don't need to change. I can be myself. And this person likes me for me. Now, granted, it was only 3 weeks. Like, who knows if after 6 months they're like, oh, wow, you got an issue and you need to work on that. We don't know. We don't know from there. I didn't watch the reunion, so I haven't seen that part yet. But there are people out there who feel like their partner needs to change. And that's why an ultimatum is birthed. And once you separate yourselves from each other, you realize that change is never going to happen, or that it's okay to not change and just be yourself. Okay. The other thing that I noticed in this show when they started meeting other people is that they started to find their own voice. And a lot of the times, the reason why people don't progress with marriage, why it takes so long for them to say, yes, I will marry you, is because they don't have the security in themselves to feel like this relationship that they're in is going to grow them, is going to expand them, is going to take them to higher heights. And so, therefore, what do? They become paralyzed. They stay in that comfort zone. They never move out of it. And then that person who wants to move forward, right? They get upset, and then they start to push marriage and they start to push change, right? Well, this person, they're not feeling themselves. They can't speak up for themselves. They can't do anything good in the relationship. They just feel like a shadow of the relationship. Like somebody is definitely taking the spotlight in that relationship and it's not them. And so they're feeling stuck and conflicted because they want to have a voice, but they don't have a voice. And so when they're out meeting these people on the show, they start to discover their voice. So much so that when they go back to their couple, when they go back to their original person that they came here with, now all of a sudden they're like, you treat me like this, and you're always mad at me about this, and you never listen to me. Like now they're saying these things because now it's like, you want to marry me, but let's look at the reality of what you're asking. You're asking me to be in a relationship where I'm not happy. And part of me being not happy is some of me, but it's also some of you too. So now they're having a voice. Now they're starting to have a conversation about this. And so ultimately, having that experience with the other people, having these revelations with their current person, they have the ultimatum. And like I said, there was a little bit of everything. Somebody stayed, somebody broke up, somebody found someone else worth pursuing because they realized there was more for them out there and that was better for them and it was a better fit for their future and what they wanted in a relationship. And so there was a little bit of all of it. Overall, I think more than anything, here's what you have to say. The question is, and I'm going to ask you guys on Instagram, I want to ask you guys on YouTube and Twitter. My question is, would it ever be okay for you to pose to your boyfriend or to your girlfriend if you're a guy? Would it ever be okay to pose to them an ultimatum, such as you're either going to marry me or we're leaving? That's the question I want to ask you. While you guys go ahead and submit your answers to the comments, I want to go ahead and share a little bit of me. So, as a relationship coach, I always tell women, number one, actually, it's in my book. Where's the book at? In this book, The Christian Woman's Guide to Dating, I share with you very early on that before you start dating, you need to know what you want in a person and you need to know what is important to you as an individual, right? And so I feel like if you are going into this relationship world and you are finding somebody that is worth pursuing, right? Number one, up front, within that first month of dating, they should know that you're serious about marriage. They should know what you're looking for in a marriage and in a husband, and they should be able to see what's valuable to you and what you can bring to the table. All right. Don't just assume that you're a good person and that you have good looks and that that is going to be enough to, pursue to be a wife. Don't just think that because you cook a really good meal and because you could keep a clean house that a man is going to be drawn and attracted to you to see you as wifey material. Because here's the thing. Guys are not drawn to the comfort of what a wife can bring to them in a relationship because honestly, that's what their mom does. Like their mom brings them comfort. They go to their mom's house if they want to have good food and have a load of laundry being clean. Like I know that's not for everybody, but that's kind of what it is. They go to those mother figures for the comfort. What a man looks for and what drives them to that pursuit of marriage is they find a woman who can challenge them in a positive way. You challenge him to be a better man. You challenge him to be a stronger man. You challenge him to love in a way that he has never felt nor expressed love before. And that drive, that newness, that challenge that guys are so driven by, that is what is like, I want to marry this woman because it is so exciting to be with this woman, because she's challenging me to go further, to be higher, and to become better. And that is what pursues them. If all you're bringing to the table is a good meal and a clean house, and maybe you're physically attracted, then eventually that's going to become comfortable, and eventually that comfort is not going to be enough to step out of the comfort zone in order for them to pursue something serious. And so in my book, what I tell women is, I say, you need to be very upfront that this is what you're pursuing, that this is what you want. And then you have to be so secure in yourself that you're not afraid to navigate away from those values as the relationship progresses. You should never be in a year in on your relationship with somebody that you love and that they love you, and you guys not feel okay about having this talk, okay? Or you're not okay about progressing and taking it forward. So, like, the other thing to consider is that there are other steps you can take that don't necessarily require a ring. Okay, do you know that? Are you aware of that? If you're aware of that, give me a thumbs up in the comments. And if you're not aware of that, then question mark, because maybe this is some new knowledge that I need to drop on y'all for a second. Hold on. Here's the thing. If I were to date, or ask me, I'm going to ask you, okay? If you're a woman, you're dating, you meet a guy, you really like them, right? And you find someone and you tell them, like, my end game is marriage. Like, I want to pursue marriage. I want to have a family, I'm not getting any younger. These are my values. I'm sticking to them. And if the guy that you choose to do that with is like, yeah, okay, cool. But then a year goes on and you're not seeing any kind of progression towards a ring or towards a wedding, a relationship, towards marriage, then that doesn't mean that the relationship is broken. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get anything out of it. There are actually other steps that you can take to show that you have an interest towards that. You're just not ready to have that actual step. What do I mean by that? If I were to pursue my person and I'm like, listen, it's been a year and we haven't talked about marriage, or you haven't even thought about marriage, and I keep like trying to hint at you that I want the ring and I want the thing and I'm blah, 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 and you're just like completely going over your head about this. You know that this is what I want, because ever since day one I've been talking to you about this. What's your deal? What's going on? If he were to come at you and if he were to say, honey, I still don't feel ready for marriage. I feel like there's a lot of things that I got to work on in me. I feel like there's a lot of things I got to work on with my finances, because guys and finances, that's like a thing. And it's like, I just don't feel like I'm prepared. But I am willing to learn more about marriage to see if it can help me progress my belief. Or I'm willing to go to counseling because I've noticed that these are some areas in our relationship that are not cool. And so I'm willing to like see if we overcome these issues, maybe it will make me more ready. You know what I'm saying? Or, if they're taking action steps towards the engagement, wouldn't that be a little bit better than you just saying either yes or no? Like, it's black or white. You're either going to propose to me this week or I'm leaving and we're going to throw everything away. Like, wouldn't you rather have a stepping stone kind of version? See, actually, the reason why I say that is because that's what happened to me and my husband. For the longest time, I was I was very afraid of marriage because I saw what marriage does to people. I saw divorce from a very young age. I saw how ugly it can get. And so I was like, I don't want to put myself in that situation. Like, do we even really need to do that? Because I don't want to end up falling in love with you only to end up winding up hating you at some point in the future. And so I was very worried about that. And my husband, he was like, whatever you have to do to feel comfortable about us moving forward, let's do it. And so rather than take that reactive approach, or rather than jump into something that we knew we weren't ready for, we ended up taking prevention measures. We went to classes that were all about relationships and marriages. We read books on relationships and marriages. If you guys are looking for recommendations on what to read, I have 4 books, and you can go to my Amazon page and I have a whole list of recommended books for you and your relationship. One of the biggest books that helped us was the book 101 Questions to Ask Before Getting Engaged. And that helped us sort out all of our issues, all of our baggage, all of our fears, all of our intentions, all of our expectations. See, I think a lot of people, a lot of times, they don't know what conversations they need to have in order to feel secure enough to go into that next step of marriage, right? And I think in this show, they found in other people, that's something I never talked about with my other person, with with the boyfriend and girlfriend I originally came here with. So maybe I need to have that conversation. They found a lot of uncovered baggage that they were just dealing with, that they were just okay with, and that they were just willing to overlook for the sake of, I don't want to end up being alone. I don't want to have to start all over with somebody else. I want you in my life because you check off 80% of the boxes. Well, isn't the other 20% worth working on, worth talking about, worth pursuing to improve before you're like super confident and comfortable with that? And the best way to do that is by studying this together. I mean, if you want a degree in something, you don't just say, "Okay, I'm either going to have my degree or I'm going to walk away." No, you take classes, you take continuing education credits. You do these things because you want to develop the skill. Relationships is a skill to have. And it's if you learn and master those skills, you could be able to apply it to any relationship you have. The other thing that I want to talk about before we leave this Friday Love Live is the fact that none of these people knew what to do. They didn't know what to do. They were very confused. They felt love and they didn't want to leave that love, right? But they also weren't happy. Like none of these people walking into this show on day one were happy with their person. They wanted something out of them. They couldn't offer something that their person wanted. They were scared. They felt rejected. They felt like, you don't see my worth. I feel like you're not seeing me for who I am and for what I can offer in the future. A lot of these people were very, very confused. And you know what is not confusing? As a Christian relationship coach, you know what is not confusing? Um, God. God is not confusing. If you were to pursue him, if you were to check his word, if you were to pray and maybe just fast, if you have no idea how to do that, check out my online shop. I got a guide for you. But if you were to just include God into the mix, then he will easily point out, look at that red flag. Listen to that tone. Listen to his mannerism here. Listen how he brings this up. Look at how you're feeling when you're having this conversation about this thing. What about this right here? Like God will start to bring to your psyche, to your mental forefront. He will start to show you things that you either need to work on or that is going to keep you from moving forward with this particular person. He will always point out the red flags. Okay. God's not going to lead you into a bad marriage, into a failed marriage, unless he like downright says, like how he did in the Bible with Homer, like you're, or is that his name, Homer? I gotta check that. He would definitely say, like, listen, I want you to do this for my glory. I'm gonna be with you every step of the way, but yeah, you're gonna date, you're gonna marry the prostitute. Like, if God does not tell you that, I'm pretty sure that your discernment and your conviction, if you're continuing to include God into this relationship, is going to help you realize you don't need an ultimatum. You already have the answer. Okay. You already have the answer. And so I say all this to say that number one, for all of these couples, if they wanted to know if their partner was the one for them and that they would ever come around and say, yes, I want to marry you. I want to Gomer, not Homer, Gomer. Thank you. I knew it. Yes. With the prostitute. I want to say that if you are in a situation like this, like let's bring this home. Okay. If you are in a relationship and you're just feeling like it's getting you nowhere, you are not, you have a good guy. He checks off 80% of the things, right? But yet you're still not progressing forward. You're not moving forward. And every time you try to have the conversation, just communication wires get twisted and turned, and he blows it off, and he's like, he tries to gaslight you and saying like, oh, why are we talking about this again? Like, I thought we already talked about this. But you still feel some kind of way about it, right? This is what you need to do. Number one, include God in the mix, because maybe the stalling is not really on your part. Maybe it's not really on his part, but maybe that's God giving you an opportunity out of a situation that you should never be a part of in the first place. From day one, if you watch the show, episode one, you can automatically see it, that these people have trauma, that these people have pains, that these people are acting in fear, that these people are acting in pride and ego, and that these people are codependent on their partners. These people are saying, you're either going to marry me or leave me, and that's the bottom line. It's because you're dependent on this person for your joy and your happiness and your security, and that should never be the case, because a person can never fulfill all of those things for you at the end of the day. And so for these people that are like, I want to be married, I want to have this, I want my life to move forward, if you feel that strongly about this decision, it's because you are banking your blessings, and you're banking your joy, and you're banking all of your abundanceness, your future, on this particular situation. And the way God is teaching us, he is teaching us that I am the truth and the light and the way. I am the provider. I am the one who can help you out of any situation. So therefore, it doesn't matter what your status is. And it doesn't matter how long your relationship lasts. I am the one that can make you feel that peace that you long for at the end of the day. And so therefore, since I'm going to already give you that stuff, here's something else I'm going to show you about your relationship, or here's something else I'm going to show you about yourself. You know what I mean? God's going to give you a discernment, and God's going to give you the provision. And so because that was missing in these people's lives, clearly they were searching it in their partners, and clearly they came up to all of this situation. It ended up turning into a crap show. Like, they were jealous, they were raging, they were envious, they were sad, they were stressed, they were depressed. None of this fits in alignment with God's love and God's blueprint of love. If you guys look back to the book of Genesis, when Adam and Eve were together, the verse says they were naked and not ashamed. And in other words, not just like fully like no clothes naked, but like in other words, they were so okay with each other that they can be fully transparent, fully vulnerable, fully in love, no bearings at all, able to show everything and expose all of it, because they knew that there was a love stronger, present, and in the mix of what they had as husband and wife, that being God. Okay. These people that were on this show, The Ultimatum, they were so unsure of the love that they had for each other. And it was really sad, because it's like, if you just include God into that, you would feel so much better about yourself. And not only that, but you would have so much more awareness of how you talk to people, or of how people are talking to you, or what's missing in this relationship, or what you desire in this relationship beyond a ring, beyond a marriage, beyond the proposal. You know what I'm saying? And so when I watch the show, again, it's a guilty pleasure. I like to watch these shows because it gives me this insight. Because, like I said, a lot of people out there are not on the show and are feeling stuck in their relationship because they're scared to leave, because they feel like nothing else is going to be out there for them, because they're just not sure how to bring up the conversation. They're not sure how to communicate their desires. That was another one of the biggest things that I saw in this show, The Ultimatum, is the fact that these people had such a difficult time opening up and sharing what they wanted. these people did not want to share what they wanted. Wouldn't it be so much easier if you were just like, I feel like this in the relationship, and I feel like this is what happened, blah, 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 blah. And I just, if you were to just do this or say this, it would make me feel blank. You know what I'm saying? So many people have such a hard time communicating their thoughts and their needs because the other person that they're with does not know how to communicate. We saw that in the show. There was an individual who just every time he heard something he did not like, he automatically cut the person off and wanted to get his voice heard, and he just felt defensive. He instantly got defensive. So again, if there was a stepping stone of like, hey, we don't know how to talk to each other. I know you're not ready for marriage, but can we work on communication? Can we work on our skills together? Can we work on making this a better thing in our relationship? That way, maybe we could see if we're still good for each other. Like, that's a good stepping stone. That's a good intermission, like, kind of in between step to let you know, like, I'm serious about your intentions, but we're not there yet. And that's okay. You don't have to be there yet as long as you're working towards it. It's when you stay stagnant and get comfortable and don't change at all and just assume, like, oh, it's gonna one, okay, I guess I'm old enough now. I guess I'm old enough to get married. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where things happen. A lot of people led this relationship in fear. A lot of people had a lot of miscommunication. If that is you out there and you're just like, yeah, I have an issue with communicating how serious things are in my relationship or what my intentions are in the relationship, then go to my online shop, link in bio, and YouTube, go to SelinaAlmodovar.com, look at my shop. I literally just like 2 days ago, I just did a webinar on how to fix broken communication in a relationship. You can catch the replay now, it's on pre-order, and you can discover like, what are some things I can do to increase my communication in my relationship? What are some things that I can do to really help the security in me so that I'm not walking around on eggshells feeling insecure about whether or not this guy's going to leave me? Okay, what can I do for myself or for my relationship so that we can really see if this is a good fit for us? You guys could pray together, you guys could do a devotion together, you guys can invite God into the mix because he's already there. He's already at the point that you want to be at, whether that's single and broken up with this person or whether it's at the altar. Wouldn't you want to include him in that if he already knows what's best for you and he already seen what's going to happen? Wouldn't he be able to give you the direction you want and you need, rather than pulling somebody into a resisting, position so that they feel like, oh, I'm being dragged or I have to do this because this is what she wants and it'll make her happy and the conflict will go away. The conflict will never go away because you're not in it, your heart's not in it, your mind's not in it, your spirit's not even in it. You're just here because you're comfortable. And you're just here because you're scared of starting over. And you're really also scared because you don't want to voice your own opinions and your own thoughts and your own beliefs about what's really happening in the relationship. You know what I mean? So much stuff. I mean, I wish I had a following who followed this show. I would dive into it week by week and break down every single episode. Maybe I'll do it on TikTok. If you guys are interested, let me know. I'll create a shorts series or a reels series and like really break down all of the episodes. But that is what I had to say. Okay. That is my thoughts on this. That is my thoughts on this. Hold on. That is my thoughts on this show. And I want to know what your thoughts are. So I'm going to give you guys a little break to really ask some questions or to share your opinions before I sign off. Okay. And let me know. Have you watched the show and what do you think about giving your person an ultimatum? Because I feel like a lot of people do it. A lot of people do it. And if they don't do it, they're thinking about it. And if they are thinking about it and they're not happy, then it ultimately becomes an internalized thing, which ultimately explodes inside them, implodes inside of them, causing people to cheat, causing people to become negative in their relationship, causing people to shut down and not communicate in their relationship. So many people are unhappy in their relationships because they want it to progress or because they don't want it to progress. And they're just so afraid to voice that opinion. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there, we have to do better for ourselves. We have to do better for our love lives. If there is something that is not feeding you, that is not challenging you to become better, then please, sooner rather than later, choose to let it go or choose to have the conversation to make it better. But just because you're in a relationship for a long, considerable amount of time does not mean that it's going to bring you to a point where you are deemed okay and ready for marriage. Okay. You're never going to be ready for marriage until you handle all of the fears and insecurities that are keeping you from being married today. Period. If you feel in your heart like I can't get married to this person because of this, or I can't get married because I feel this, then there's always something that you can do to fix or address that. Whether it starts in the prayer room, in your prayer closet, and then it goes into a relationship course or a book or a devotional or a small group or a counseling session. I mean, go to my online shop. I offer coaching sessions for an hour. I'm going to be changing that up in a very near future, but for now, you still have the opportunity to talk to me. You know what I mean? But do something is what I'm trying to say. These people thought that giving an ultimatum was the something they could do to help remedy their relationship. And they're probably going into this with more baggage than they came in the first place. And that is very unfortunate. But at the same time, you can all see that they have a lot of things they need to work on. The people who said yes to getting engaged and getting married and pursuing a relationship, they all now see, all of their baggage is exposed, all of their fears are exposed. And so, what we can do as the watchers is we can pray that they will continue to work on those issues. Just because the ring is present and the marriage is there does not mean that those issues will go away. So, it is a lifelong pursuit to become better. It is a lifelong pursuit to unconditionally love the person you're choosing to love. And it is a lifelong pursuit to always include God in the mix of it. Okay, because God is going to be the answer, the solution. He's going to help you get the peace. He's going to help you get the clarity. He's going to help you get the answers that you're longing to have. All right, so that is what I have to say. I'm going to go ahead and head off. It is Friday, almost 4 o'clock where I am. I got to pick up my son from the bus stop, and I'm going to enjoy my weekend. Be on the lookout. I am going to be having a new webinar coming up next month. It is called The Blueprint of Going from Single Life to Married Wife. I think that's going to help, especially in this conversation, talking about the ultimatum and who is the person you're dating. Are they really worth the person you should marry? I think a lot of that is going to be included in the webinar. Be sure to drop your comments in the hints or in the description and in the comments below. Even if you're watching the replay, if you have some thoughts that you want to share and we're no longer live, but you're watching the replay, like share those comments. I'm going to go ahead and address those as they come. And again, let me know, do you like this new afternoon hour or should we go back to the morning time? Either way, I'm glad to be with you. I'm glad that we could have this experience. I'm glad that we could talk about this show, because not everybody is bringing this in the Christian faith-based light. And I think you can learn a lot about it and you can apply it moving forward into your love life. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave you with this. It was short and sweet, but hey, I think we got all the points across. And I can't wait to talk to you guys again in the next show. Tune in on YouTube for a new video coming on Monday. For people on Instagram, give me some grace. I'm slowly working my way back in. I had a long week, but things are going to start moving at a very fast pace because I got something for you, starting with that webinar coming your way next month. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. God bless you, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.